This is the deep south. I feel it every time that molten hot sun pours down on me. Don't you, Zach? Hey, Zach. No, nothing. Just felt like saying that.
So, Mr. York, what do you think of my castle? Pretty cool, ain't it?
I've been curious about it since the first time I saw it. You've got excellent taste, Melvin.
I dub it Lou Crawfish. I'll have you know, crawfish is pretty much its own food group in this town. Since this store carries all the bare necessities you'll need for daily life, I reckon it was an apt name. If it's sundries you're looking for, there ain't much you won't find here. You ever need anything? You just come on by, Mr. York.
You're not only the sheriff of this town, you also manage a general store.
Sure, as long as you ring this bell here.
That's terribly convenient, Melvin. But I have one concern. What if a crime occurs while you're managing the store? Running a business and keeping the peace, both jobs require immediate response in times of crisis. I just can't see how it would be possible.
It's actually pretty easy, Mr. York.
But what if a criminal who just robbed a bank came here on his way home and bought up all your stock?
Oh, I like the sound of that. You want to make me rich? Hey, how about you just buy up the whole store while you're at it? I'll never let money stand in my way. It's not the boss of me, for I am the last shopaholic. Ooh, I'm funny.
Melvin, that was a serious question.
Really? Could have fooled me. Not even the Clarksons would do something that crazy. No point in preparing for something that'll never happen, right? After all, this is Lucare, the tiny forgotten town in the middle of southern nowhere.
Get it, Zach? It's Occam's razor to a T. Melvin, I have to say you're a very balanced man. Now I feel confident that the Woods household will do just fine, even if you end up losing your job as town sheriff.
You sure are a joker, Mr. York. Okay. You ever need anything? Mr. York. Spam, huh? You a pot of meat kind of guy?
No, Melvin. I've simply gotten myself tangled up in a little mess.
Oh, I get it, Mr. York. The Lord hungers, right?
Yes, apparently the Lord is starving, and I'm a lamb with no sense of direction. coffee person, right? No sugar, only milk. Yes, I'm completely with you on that one. Hey, want to talk about bridges? Why? I've become obsessed with bridges, Zach, and there's no turning back now. Remember what we saw on our way here? Back when we were driving that hybrid car before we switched over to the skateboard. We passed over the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, the longest bridge over water in the entire world.
The air out there don't feel right today. You feel it too, honey? Oh, coming right. Come back anytime, huh? You ain't. Oh. Come back anytime. You ain't. Oh. Come back anytime, honey. You ain't gonna. Okay, honey. I'll serve you up the. Oh, come. So, what do you think of my Cajun food, honey?
No complaints here. No wonder you call this restaurant the best Louisiana's got to offer.
Oh, my Lord. Ain't that nice of you? I'm sure glad to hear you like Cajun flavor. It's nothing like that Creole food. And I'll be damned if it isn't the best eating you'll find this side of the Mississippi.
Hold on just one moment, Alexis. I always thought that both Creole and Cajun food were staples of the South. Am I misunderstanding something?
Not at all, honey. Cajun and Creole food are both staples of the South. They both have roots in French cooking, of course. But Creole cooking just ain't my cup of tea. Sauces of France combined with cooking methods brought in from Africa, mixed in with Spanish influences and Italian-style tomato sauce. Huh, when you smush all that together, you can't even tell what it is no more. Cajun food is pure and solid. The Acadians who settled in Canada brought it here from France in the 1600s. Then the British chased them off their land and they ran all the way down here. They walked straight across America, north to south. Finally, they found a safe haven right here in southwest Louisiana. Whew, we got everything you'd ever want here. Fresh fish, wildlife, even veggies and fruit. They used their knowledge of French cooking and added some spice and herbs. Oh, and then they threw in fresh local ingredients to create what we know as Cajun cuisine.
Interesting. Now I understand what you mean about the Cajun and Creole food being completely different. But I still insist that both are shining examples of delicious local food. Roots and history aren't that important, are they?
Oh, my Lord. You don't get it, do you, honey? Lately, there are shops all over the place calling themselves Cajun, Creole, or whatnot. But all they serve is a hot mess of different ingredients loaded with spices. And the tourists ain't none the wiser. I just hate feeling like folks are getting the wrong impression about Cajun food.
I get it now. According to your interpretation, Creole food is contributing to that wrong impression.
You bet it is. That's why I always make sure to teach all my customers what's what. Come back. You
lollipops. One lollipop, two lollipops, three lollipops. Don't mind me, Zach. This is how I wake myself up. Hey, Zach. Oh, nothing. Just felt like saying that. This is the deep south. I feel it every time that molten hot sun pours down on me. Don't you, Zach? If this town has a symbol, it's got to be that bridge hanging over the bayou. Lift bridges are truly a rarity. Reminds me of Duluth. Hey, want to talk about bridges? Why?
Come back anytime, huh? You ain't gonna find any better.
This is a vast country, incredibly vast, and it's mostly composed of mountains, deserts, and farmland, with small towns scattered about here and there. That's how America looks to me, compared to the scale of this entire country. Hey, Zach. No, nothing. Just felt like saying that. Did you notice it yet? The streets in New Orleans were a mess. All busted up and undergoing maintenance. The city was built on a swamp, so the ground is soft. All it takes is some heavy rain to cave it all in. There were also a lot of places where large tree roots were pushing up parts of the asphalt and the sidewalk. Those bumps were dangerous even when we still had our car, remember? But this town is different. The streets are all paved so cleanly that we can skate along them.
Hi, Agent York. Hi, Agent York. Hi, Agent York. See you later. Oh, if you ever got any skateboard questions. Hi, Agent York. See you later. Oh, if you ever got. Hi, Agent York. See you later. Oh, if you ever.
Zach, you're a coffee person, right? No sugar, only milk. Yes, I'm completely with you on that one. This is the deep south. I feel it every time that molten hot sun pours down on me. Don't you, Zach? Did you notice it yet? The streets in New Orleans were a mess. All busted up and undergoing maintenance. The city was built on a swamp, so the ground is soft. All it takes is some heavy. Hey, Zach. Oh, nothing. Just felt like saying that. Hey, Zach. Oh, no.
Smarty pants, what you want? Smarty. Sm-
It really seemed like you knew who Galena Clarkson was.
Well, I've never actually talked to her, but it's a small town. Pretty much all folks know who the Clarksons are, and Galena's supposed to be extra scary compared to the rest of them. Back when we saw her in town, I felt like she was glaring right at me, so I got real scared. No one will come out and say it, but I'm pretty sure they're all relieved that she was the killer. We're lucky the killer ended up being a member of the Clarkson family. Otherwise, the whole town would have turned into a battlefield.
You've got a point, but did everyone really hate her that much?
They didn't hate her. She hated them. She had this real peculiar way of treating people. I don't know how to describe it.
Contemptful?
Yeah, I guess that's it. She never opened up to anyone in town.
She was rich, beautiful, and wanted to become an actress. So she went to a metropolitan city to refine herself. There's always a chance that people like her may develop prejudices towards those who stay in the countryside. A big chance, even. But just because a person has prejudices doesn't mean they'll go out and murder people. That's where my doubt lies. Was there any sort of omen which made people happy that she was the killer instead of someone else?
I'm just telling you how I feel. How am I supposed to know if everyone else in town felt the same way? I never thought she'd actually go and kill her own daughter, though.
There it is, Zach. It appears that her attempt to kill me wasn't simply a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Maybe she was sad.
Sad.
Smarty pants. Smarty.
Very good, sir. Please. Serving you is my great... Please do let me know. Very good, sir. Please. Serving you is my... Please do...
What? You need a ride? Okay, I'll call her in a jiffy. Why, Vern, the new cutting-edge transportation service. We'll come to you wherever you are.
How's the investigation coming? Must be going well if you're on the case. That's what I'm... Come on, get it. Thanks for calling me. Why, goodbye now.
Were you thinking about Galena too? And all the other women we've seen so far on our travels across the states? Zach, I'm right, aren't I? This is a vast country. Incredibly vast. Hey, Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing...
Very please. Serving you is please do let.
Sure is so. Boss, but if see.
How's the investigation?
One lollipop, two lollipops, three lollipops. Don't mind me, Zach. This is how I wake my... Alexis, would you mind keeping the red beans in the can? I'll pay the regular price, of course.
Oh, my Lord. Why don't you want me to take them out of the can?
They're for an offering, you see.
Oh, why didn't you say so? The Lord hungers.
Exactly. As you can see, I'm a pitiful lost lamb. Now I get it, Zach. This is nothing but a shameless fetch quest.
Come back anytime, honey. You ain't gonna find any better Cajun food in all of Louisiana.
Zach, we finally managed to assemble the Taboo Trinity. And it was certainly no small task. I just hope it rewards us with some data that will help us push this investigation forward. Hey Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the Sang Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana.
Sure is some sun out there, ain't it, boss? Sure is some...
Yes, I know. I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here. To protect this peace. Isn't that right, Zach? This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know. I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here. To protect this peace. Isn't that right, Zach? So, what do you think of it? This, I'm talking about him. Who knows? Is the skeletal gentleman friend or foe? Or does he merely exist outside the realms of either? Still too early to tell. But it's clear that he'll be the key to uncovering this case's mysteries. Come on. It's time to show that pastor the fruit of our labors.
You don't know what you're getting yourself into.
Okay, Pastor. I've brought you your taboo trinity. I'd like to exchange it for a ticket to the goddess.
Oh, how I pity you. You see, my dear lost lamb, our Lord still hungers. One anaconda skin, one squirrel tail. And one pressed white guara. This is what you must bring next.
Are you kidding me?
How pitiful. Our Lord never speaks in jest.
I told you this was gonna be a pain in the butt. Come on, we need to get going.
It looks like we'll need to work harder to get God's attention, Zach. Part of me just wants to say to hell with it and go have a smoke. You know, Patty, I just remembered something. When we met Philip in the sheriff's office, he mentioned your mother. What sort of history does Melvin have with the Clarksons?
What do you mean? The Clarksons know everyone in town, and everyone in town knows the Clarksons. This is Lucare. That's all there is to it.
Zach, something isn't right here. I just hope the Clarksons don't have anything to do with her mother's illness. That's all I'm concerned about. Either way, the truth will reveal itself to us eventually. Just like it always has. This is the deep south. I feel it every time that molten hot sun pours down on me. Don't you, Zach? Hey, Zach. No, nothing. Just felt like saying that. Hey, want to talk about bridges? Why? I've become obsessed with bridges, and there's no turning back now. Remember what we saw on our way here? Back when we were driving that hybrid car before we switched over to the skateboard. We passed over the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, the longest bridge over water in the entire world. Remember the sudden downpour that made it impossible for us to see the road? The rain was so torrential that we couldn't see more than a few miles ahead of us. I'm sure local drivers are used to that sort of thing. They were all going normal speeds. I bet that scene reminded you of a certain film, or perhaps a certain person. Violent City, 1970, directed by Sergio Salino. I only ever saw it on TV when I was a kid, so I don't remember it very well. But I definitely remember that it featured a bridge, a long bridge, during the New Orleans part. That's the one thing I remember. That bridge must have been the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, and the film starred Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson. What an amazing sound. You couldn't possibly find another man whose name matches his appearance so perfectly. Yes, of course I know that Charles Bronson isn't his real name. Charles Dennis Kuczynski. That's his real name, but he's Bronson. Period. Zach, what's your favorite Bronson film? Death Wish? The Magnificent Seven? Rider on the Rain? Or Farewell Friend? They're all masterpieces, but to me, his greatest work lies elsewhere. That's it, Zach. There's our squirrel tail. I hope we can gather the rest of the materials this quickly. Honestly, we don't have the time to help God out with his heavenly errands. Certain countries consider squirrel tails to be wards against demonic powers. Apparently, the tails quiver whenever evil draws near. So when people go out on journeys, they always carry squirrel tails with them. The fresher the tail, the higher its price. Bridges? Why? I've become obsessed with bridges, Zach, and there's no turning back now. Remember what we saw on our way here? Back when we were driving that hybrid car before we switched over to the skateboard. We passed over the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, the longest bridge over water in the entire world. Remember the sudden downpour that made it impossible for us to see the road? The rain was so torrential that we couldn't see more than a few miles ahead of us. I'm sure local drivers are used to that sort of thing. They were all going normal speeds. I bet that scene reminded you of a certain film, or perhaps a certain person. Violent City, 1970, directed by Sergio Salini. I only ever saw it on TV when I was a kid, so I don't remember it very well. But I definitely remember that it featured a bridge, a long bridge. During the New Orleans part, that's the one thing I remember. That bridge must have been the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, and the film starred Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson. What an amazing sound. You couldn't possibly find another man whose name matches his appearance so perfectly. Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the Sang Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana. You know what that means. We've got a hot hand, and Lady Luck's given us far more favor than she ever has before. We just happened to hear news about Lisa's murder while sitting in a bar during our vacation in New Orleans. That certainly wouldn't have happened if we had stayed in D.C. They would have given the case to another special agent, or maybe even to the state. This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know. I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here. To protect this peace. Isn't that right, Zach? Zach, how about we grab a bite to eat? Not even I can think straight on an empty stomach. You didn't even twitch when you saw Galena's body.
Why would I? Dead things can't hurt us, right?
Girls your age don't usually think that way.
Do you have kids, Agent York?
No, I don't. I'm not married either.
Then you have no idea how girls my age usually think. Besides, I'm used to seeing dead bodies thanks to CSI, especially dismembered corpses like hers. You know, for a so-called profiling professional, you're pretty clueless.
In that case, allow me to apologize. But don't you think it's a bit of a leap to discount my observational abilities simply because corpses don't scare you?
I don't know. I mean, you're completely wrong.
Do you know what I was thinking back there then?
Of course not. I'm not a pro.
The same goes for me, Patty. No manner of pro could ever know 100% of what another person is thinking. Unless, of course, that pro has a mental connection with them, like Zach and I have. If I was telepathic, I wouldn't have joined the FBI. I would have taken over a small country or become a messiah.
Now who's making crazy leaps?
I will admit, though, Patty, I feel like you and I have something in common. We definitely have similarities, even though they aren't as strong as the ones that Zach and I share.
Whatever.
Perhaps you and I grew up under similar circumstances. We're both unique cases.
Huh? Unique cases?
In your case, your beautiful mother's second husband became your daddy. What else have you seen on that sci-fi movie channel?
Agent York, why are you asking me that?
Discussing movies is one of the most basic forms of communication in our country.
What time period do you live in?
It's always been that way in every era. In this country, all dialogues always begin from films.
Ugh. Says who? You're making me sick.
Sick?
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna puke.
I know just what you need to do, Patty.
What?
Tell me what other movies you've seen on that sci-fi channel.
Ugh. You're so annoying. Fine. I saw this one movie where a pretty lady and an old guy fight, and they were both robots.
Ah, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. 2003, directed by Jonathan Mostow. I knew you were an Arnold S. fan.
Oh, you said it again. Oh, whatever. I'm not a fan of his or anything, okay? He just happened to be in it.
So, what did you think?
I knew of the name Terminator, but it was my first time seeing one of those movies.
What? You've never seen Terminator?
Well, the first two came out before I was even born.
I know, but come on. It's Terminator.
Boys probably like it, but I'm sure most girls don't give two craps about it. Oh, but I know it was directed by the same person who did Titanic.
Titanic. Oh, you mean Raise the Titanic. 1980, directed by Jerry Jameson. But he didn't direct Terminator. He's famous for Airport 77 and The Deadly Tower. You probably know this already, but The Deadly Tower was based on the 1966 Texas Tower sniper incident. I learned about it at the FBI Academy in Quantico. In the film, Kurt Russell plays Charles Joseph Whitman, the assailant. He really brought the character to life with an awe-inspiring performance. What's wrong, Patty? I'm just trying to talk about Terminator 3, that movie you saw. But you're not paying any attention. So be it. If you're not in the mood to talk, then let's return to the investigation. It's a shame, though. We really wanted to hear more about the films you saw, didn't we, Zach? It's a beautiful day, Patty.
Really? Seems kinda normal to me.
Now that you mention it, yes, it is a normal day. I just felt like saying that.
What? You know, sometimes you really get on my nerves.
What else have you seen on that sci-fi movie channel?
Agent York, why are you asking me that?
Discussing movies is one of the most basic forms of communication in our country.
What time period do you live in?
It's always been that way in every era. In this country, all dialogues always begin from films.
Ugh, says who? You're making me sick.
Sick?
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna puke.
I know just what you need to do, Patty.
What?
Tell me what other movies you've seen on that sci-fi channel.
Ugh, you're so annoying. Fine. I saw this one movie where a pretty lady and an old guy fight, and they were both robots.
Ah, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. 2003, directed by Jonathan Mostow. I knew you were an Arnold S. fan.
Oh, you said it again. Oh, whatever. I'm not a fan of his or anything, okay? He just happened to be in it.
So, what did you think?
I knew of the name Terminator, but it was my first...
Hey, Zach, remember this movie? 1997, directed by Luis Loza. Anaconda. The movie where the famous John Voight goes crazy with a rifle. Jennifer Lopez, Eric Stoltz. Even Owen Wilson and Ice Cube were in it. Is that an all-star cast or what? The scene in the beginning where Danny Trejo climbs up a ladder with a pistol in one hand is a must-see. It stole my heart within the first 5 minutes. Okay, back to the real world. We're on an important mission right now, aren't we? Did you notice it yet? The streets in New Orleans were a mess. All busted up and underground.
Very good, please. Serving, please.
What? You need a ride? Okay, I'll call her in a jiffy. Why, Vern? The new cut...
How's the investigation coming? Must be going well if you're on the case. That's what I... Come on, get...
was it yet? The streets in New Orleans were... About 3 years ago, I met a man who had a pair of anaconda skin shoes. He said they were a trophy from a snake he hunted and skinned all by himself. Could you kill something and then wear its skin? I couldn't. No thanks. I fail to see any difference between that and a crazed murderer who carries pieces of his victims home with him. Ripping a squirrel's tail off its corpse is an eye-opening experience, Zach. I don't care if God commanded us to do this. It's pure butchery. But we'll just have to live with it. After all, humans are wild at heart. Zach, I never knew that following oracles was such back-breaking work. I really needed this cigarette. I think I'm on the verge of losing my mind. Now we just need to find one pressed white Gora. He was very clear that it had to be pressed. Do they sell pressed flowers in stores here? I think I'm stumped, Zach. Perhaps we better go ask our well-informed concierge for help. This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here. To protect this peace. Isn't that right, Zach? Hey, Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the Sang Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana. You know what that means. We've got a hot hand. And Lady Luck's given us far more favor than she ever has before. We just happened to hear news about Lisa's murder while sitting in a bar during our vacation in New Orleans. That certainly wouldn't have happened if we had stayed in D.C. They would have given the case to another special agent, or maybe even to the state, and then we never would have found it. In the end, we would have been shut up in that room. Okay, Zach. Let's go talk to our concierge. It'd be impossible for us to find a white Gora all on our own in such a vast area.
Welcome back, Mr. Morgan, sir.
Hello there, concierge. Do you mind if I ask you a question?
How may I help you, Mr. Morgan?
I'm in need of a pressed white Gora. Do you know of a store where I could find one?
The Lord hungers?
Correct.
Jolly good, sir. In that case, please ask our bellboy. His hobby is pressing flowers, so I'm sure he'll be able to assist you. Mr. Morgan, did you find the pressed flower?
No, not yet.
Very well. In that case, please speak with our bellboy. I'm sure he'll be able to help you, sir. Very good, sir. Please. Serving you. Please do let... Very good, please. Serving you is my greatest pleasure, sir. Please do let me know if there is any other way for me to assist you. Very good, sir. Please, come. Serving you is... Please do... Very good. Please. Serving you. Please do let...
Got a minute, Chef?
What is it, mister? I got my hands full here.
Do you know where I might find a pressed white Gora?
Now, what did I tell you? I'm a professional chef. I don't flap my gums about any old thing. If you want to know about the town, you best ask our concierge.
May I ask you a question?
Sure, boss. What's cracking?
I need to find a pressed white Gora.
You like flowers, boss?
Well, not exactly, but it's the will of God.
The Lord hungers, huh?
Excellent, David. Way to cut right to the chase. Do you know where I might find one?
Sorry, boss. We only have one white gora bush in our garden. Yep.
What's the problem?
Well, yesterday I picked them all and pressed them, see?
That's perfect. Would you mind giving one to me?
Sorry, boss. No can do.
What do you mean?
I used all the pressed flowers I made to decorate a very special spot, see?
What spot?
The bedroom on the first floor.
The bathroom.
Yes, sirree. So, I don't have a single pressed flower left now.
Well then, I'll just go and grab one from the bathroom.
I wouldn't do that if I were you, boss. Taking a pressed flower from a bathroom into church? Ah, Jesus ain't gonna like that. Sorry, but it looks like you're all out of luck, boss.
Zach. Deep South. The white gora, also known as the whirling butterfly. They certainly look just as beautiful as one. Never thought I'd ever have to pick a flower from a bathroom and deliver it to a church. But he left us no choice. Did he, Zach? God himself commanded us to carry out this very act. Therefore, I'm simply doing as I'm told. My own will has nothing to do with it. We never get to engage in adventures like these while living in the city, do we, Zach? No, the cases of the city are honestly quite boring. Who wants to fish through the garbage for a missing corpse's genitals? Or chase a stray bullet that got lodged into a moving taxi? Talk about stupid. And usually, it's all just a formality so that we can accuse a criminal who's been obviously guilty since day one. If I have to search for something, I'd much rather search for something out here. It's just so much more dramatic. This is the countryside, and it's sensational. You know what I mean, don't you, Zach?
What? Oh,
How's the investigation coming? Must be going well if you're on the case. That's what I'm talking. Come on, get in, get in.
I sincerely hope this is the last of God's divine errands.
That makes two of us.
Heavenly. Truly heavenly.
He threw away all the spam, the red beans, and the spinach. I don't believe this. All this time he was only after the cans?
Shh, be quiet, Agent York. He's doing holy work. Just be quiet and watch.
What a fragrant pressed flower. Thank you for this blessing, O Lord.
Yes, Zach. As fragrant as a urinal cake.
Shh. Behold, it is finished. Our Lord is enraptured. Take this, my lambs, and let it serve you.
Just take it, Agent York. Folks say Pastor Sanders' instruments have special powers.
Special powers?
Yes, it is the truth, my lost lambs. Have faith. The Lord guides me to create the perfect instrument for each citizen of our town.
Each instrument's effects differ by person, too.
In your case, you were blessed with 3 drums and a special flower. This is the will of the Lord. You must accept it and have faith. If you ever find yourself lost again, return to me at any time.
Patty, I'm curious. Do you have an instrument too?
Huh? Me? Of course not. Why would I ever want one of those stupid things? I'm fine just watching you adults play your silly little games.
Zach, the pressed flower we took from the bathroom ended up coming straight back to us.
Have you come seeking salvation? I'll be happy to guide you.
Hey, Agent York, what's next?
Fear not, Patty. Our next stop is that stylish woman's house. Her name is Helena Doman, and apparently she lives in this town.
What? You want to go meet her?
You know her?
Yeah. Everyone calls her Lena. Hey, how'd you figure out her name anyway? No one told you, right?
That's true. No one told me, verbally. By pure chance, Zach and I happened to acquire this. We picked it up from the ground while the pastor was busy crying. Patty, this is a prescription for a female hormone medication, which means this person is undergoing hormone treatment. Understand? It's the Oracle. This is the ticket to the goddess that we were meant to find at the White Hall. I just remembered something that Melvin said to me in the holding cell. Professor R isn't exactly a normal woman, according to him. Now it all makes sense, Patty. Lena Doman is the stylish woman we've been searching for. Professor R in the flesh.
You know, Agent York, you might actually have some talent after all.
Yes, I'll be honest with you, Patty. Both Zach and I are extremely talented. So I hope you can trust us and continue working as our assistant. Bridges? Why? I've become obsessed with bridges, and there's no turning back now. Remember what we saw on our way here? Back when we were driving that hybrid car before we switched over to the skateboard. We passed over the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, the longest bridge over water in the entire world. Remember the sudden downpour that made it impossible for us to see the road? The rain was so torrential that we couldn't see more than a few miles ahead of us. I'm sure local drivers are used to that sort of thing. They were all going normal speeds. I bet that scene reminded you of a certain film, or perhaps a certain person. Violent City, 1970, directed by Sergio Salino. I only ever saw it on TV when I was a kid, so I don't remember it very well. But I definitely remember that it featured a bridge, a long bridge, during the New Orleans part. That's the one thing I remember. That bridge must have been the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, and the film starred Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson. What an amazing sound. You couldn't possibly find another man whose name matches his appearance so perfectly. Yes, of course I know that Charles Bronson isn't his real name. Charles Dennis Buch... So, what do you think of him? Yes, I'm talking about him. Hunda. Is the skeletal gentleman friend or foe? Or does he merely exist outside the realms of either? Still too early to tell, but it's clear that he'll be the key to uncovering this case's mysteries. That's what my soul tells me. Did you notice it? The address on the prescription led us to this house.
Seems like she ain't home. No lights on either. Professor R's never home, you know.
Patty, why do you know so much about Professor R?
I don't know that much, really.
But you're the first person in town who mentioned her name to me. You also knew about San Rouge, didn't you? And when I tried to ask you more about it back then, you gave me an evasive answer. You're my assistant, aren't you? If you are, then you need to tell me everything you know about this case.
Daddy don't like Lena. He said it's stupid for a man to want to turn into a woman.
What?
And he told me I ain't supposed to talk about her. He said that if you knew someone like her was living here, Agent York, you'd start to hate this town.
That's ridiculous. Why would I ever hate this town? Because one of its inhabitants is transgender? Why in the world would that make a difference to me?
The other folks in town said the same thing as Daddy. They all know about Saint Rouge and Professor R. And about how she's waging war against the Clarksons. But they all say we ain't supposed to talk about it. So,
And here I'd assumed that ignorant way of thinking died out with the 20th century. I guess I really am an outsider after all. I thought that everyone was cooperating with my investigation, but it turns out they were all hiding key information from me. Damn it, Zach. This just made me hate the countryside for the first time in my entire life. Oh, I'm sorry for being so loud, Patricia. But just remember this. Person's birthplace, nature, race, and physical features have no bearing on their value as a human being. We're always free, and we should respect each other just the way we are. So you shouldn't feel a need to hate Lena for no reason. No matter what the people around you say, you can't let them control you. Sometimes things like common sense and decency can end up deeply hurting other people. I sincerely hope you don't forget that.
Okay, I won't.
But if Lena's committed a crime, that's a different story altogether. She may be a social minority, but she's still free and capable of knowing the difference between right and wrong. Professor R. I sincerely hope she's smart enough to understand that.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Listen to the two ends and drink dry the firewater. Do this and you will see the other world.
Zach, did you hear that? It's another oracle. I assume this means we're getting closer to the truth. Well, this is good. We don't have any other big clues at the moment. What do you say we continue the skeletal gentleman's game? After I spent the 90s listening to nothing but punk rock, I fell out of touch with music. But the digital audio player I received last Christmas changed everything. Nowadays, people can walk around with thousands of songs in their pockets. You following me here, Zach? That's right. This oracle is connected to music. The two N's refer to neither periods nor a movie's credits. They refer to the last letter of the alphabet, Z. And what's a word that has two Z's in it? Jazz, of course. Remember, we're in Louisiana here. The firewater is even easier. It's alcohol. Let's go to that jazz bar and have a drink while we consider our next plan of action. Don't worry. This is all part of our job, isn't it, Zach?
Lucari Tiger to DC Eagle. Lucari Tiger to DC Eagle. Come in.
Oh, Daddy.
DC Eagle here. Got any news for me?
Well, Mr. York, we got ourselves a bit of a problem here.
What sort of problem?
Looks like Daniel's gathered up a group of people to help him find Galina's killer on his own. If the Clarksons get serious, they'll probably put an end to this case before we even know what hit us. And it sure won't be wrapped up the way you want it to, Mr. York.
Yes, that certainly is a problem. Judging from Daniel's temperament, things are bound to get out of control. Melvin, I need to find Professor R as soon as possible.
Professor R?
That's right.
That ain't such a good idea.
I didn't ask for your personal opinion, Melvin. Especially if it comes from an antiquated, xenophobic way of thinking that's characteristic of rural towns.
Whoa now, Mr. York. What's going on here? I didn't...
This conversation is over, Melvin. You need to figure out what the Clarksons are planning. Call me again as soon as you know.
Huh? Fine. Whatever you say.
Also, sorry, but would you mind coming to pick up Patricia? I would never think to take an innocent girl like her into an adult watering hole.
Yeah, you're right. CLG's still too young for that.
Wait, Daddy! Agent York! I'm going too. Don't leave me out of this.
No, Patricia. You signed a contract with me, remember? I promise to protect you from all the evil in our world.
That's not what it means.
Patty, You're smart. Shockingly so. But you're still a child. And there are certain things a child like you doesn't need to learn about yet. Just go home for today. Zach and I are both in agreement on this one. I'm so glad you understand, Patty. Okay, Melvin, that's that. I'm leaving her here. The rest is in your hands.
Roger that. I'll take care of her, Mr. York. This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know. I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here. To protect this peace. Isn't that right, Zach? Don't mind me, Zach. This is how I wake myself up. One lollipop. Two lollipops. Three lollipops. Don't mind me, Zach. This is how I wake myself up. Has a symbol. It's got to be that bridge hanging over the bayou. Lift bridges are truly a rarity. Reminds me of Duluth, Minnesota. Remember what happened there? That man went to such great lengths to collect his victims' tongues. You know, the one who would French kiss them every day as they slowly decompose. As I drove him to the station after his arrest, he started lecturing me on the proper way to give someone a kiss. Anyway, back to Duluth. They have a famous lift bridge there called the Aerial Lift Bridge. The lift bridge here is the first one we've seen since then. But this one looks a lot smaller than the aerial lift bridge.
Its smaller size was most likely chosen due to the width of the river and the sea level of this area. The height and structure of a bridge is what determines which sort of boats can travel down the river. Normal bridges' base heights are set at a higher point so that boats can freely pass underneath them. But I imagine it would be difficult to create a bridge with a large arch here due to the river width and the sea level. That's why we're seeing all these mobile bridges such as lift bridges and drawbridges around here. As far as Louisiana goes, it appears that they've built mobile bridges over most of the bayous. Fascinating, isn't it, Zach? So many different types of bridges. I'm curious to learn even more about bridges now. Let's do some detailed research next time we get the chance. Hey, Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the San Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana. You know what that means. We've got a hot hand, and Lady Luck's given us far more favor than she ever has before. We just happened to hear news about Lisa's murder while sitting in a bar during our vacation in New Orleans. That certainly wouldn't have happened if we had stayed in D.C. They would have given the case to another special agent, or maybe even to the state, and then we never would have found it. In the end, we would have been shut up in that vast, desolate evidence vault along with all the other cases, marked by nothing but a first-degree murder tag, buried in a soggy grave at the bottom of a sea of data. That would have been its fate. Instead, it traveled from person to person until it finally fell right into our lap. Things always work out that way for us. We've traveled all over the United States trying to track down San Rouge. We can't let this chance pass us by, can we, Zach? We need to find some sort of clue before this southern sun melts it all away. Hey, Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the San Rouge distribution route led us right.